So there's been this explosion of AI created drawings all over social media because Ghibli, something, I think that's how it's pronounced. It's one of, I think it's ChatGPT now has this drawing software that you can put any photo in, and it creates a sort of anime style drawing of it. And some of them are funny. It's already getting old. I'm not paying that much attention to it, but as you'd expect with any sort of viral social media trend, the White House got in on it, posted what was supposed to be a cute, funny drawing of an American unspecified military officer. Looks kind of weirdly like it's a Caucasian guy, but it looks weirdly Maoist. Arresting a dark-skinned, like Hispanic woman who's crying. It was a drawing of something from real life where this not Venezuelan, I think she's from Dominican Republic, doesn't really matter, but some illegal immigrant drug dealer was snatched up by ICE, and she's weird looking, like she's kind of obese and got crazy puffy cheeks and all that kind of stuff, and not that any of that matters, but it's sort of an arresting photo. And they turned it into this attempted cutesy drawing of just a woman openly weeping under arrest, with handcuffs on. And it's gross. If you got the goods on her, by all means, deport her, put her in jail, prosecute her, throw the book at her. I got no problem with that. But when you see the picture, it's of a piece of this sort of this populist mob-like attitude of dehumanizing people, right? Because that's what this, for a lot of this stuff to be successful, you have to start thinking that the Trump administration isn't going after individuals with specific stories and individual rights and facts on their side and a case to be made before a judge, with a sympathetic, tale. You can't think of it as the government going after individuals. You have to think of it as going after categories of people. It's kind of a right-wing identity politics kind of way of thinking, right? Is like, and that was what Homan was getting at, is like, there's a transitive property, there's a collective guilt to these kinds of people. And so you don't care about the individual arguments. You just care that you're getting rid of the category. And, I don't think we're heading to genocide or Holocaust or anything like that. But that's that kind of thinking, right? It's like, you don't care that, this Jewish guy fought in the First World War, or that this one is a great, symphony conductor. They're just all Jews, or they're just all blacks, or they're just all this, or they're all that. They're interchangeable, commodified things that only look like real human beings. And that, at a very sort of base level, is the argument being made about a lot of this deportation stuff. And again, I don't think it's going to lead to the Holocaust or anything like that, but you can come up short of the Holocaust and still be really bad. And I think that this is not going to lead anywhere good. And the things you hear internally are about the internal conversations in the Trump White House. Some of it's been reported, some of it I just hear from people who know people, is that Trump is extremely frustrated that the deportations aren't at scale, right? It's they're the biggest one, I think, was this Venezuelan one, but Trump wanted mass deportation. That's what he promised, mass deportation. And he's failing at it, right? And I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I think it's actually hard to do. And if you're going to be really successful at doing it, you'd have to deliver a vicious blow to certain sectors of the economy, which I'm sure some people are reluctant to do as well, right? Like I'm sure that there are parts of the agricultural sector that have a lot of undocumented illegal immigrants in them, right? And what you could do is at harvest time, go to Central Valley, California, or, wherever, and just, play that music from the Planet of the Apes where they're riding on horses carrying the net and go on an immigrant hunt. And you could round up a lot of people. You would also shut down the agriculture industry in the process, or big chunks of it. And I think there are probably people who are scared of doing that. And so, but Trump wants big numbers on the board. And that's what he envisioned, was like, train cars moving day and night down to the border, shoving these people over, filling beds, there was all of this talk before the election about how they were going to have like giant FEMA encampments and to house all the immigrants, and they have to do it with and that was the plan with Gitmo and all that kind of stuff. And it's turning out, as I kind of predicted, to be a huge logistical, I shouldn't say kind of predicted, I predicted, I talked about this a bunch before the election about how there were certain things Trump could do with a stroke of a pen, and there are other things he could only do with massive managerial and logistical coordination between state and local and federal government, and also buy-in from Congress. And he's not good enough at that stuff to do that. And so that's one of the reasons why you're not getting it. But regardless, he's getting frustrated, reportedly, with the lack of pace and with the lack of numbers about mass deportations. These have been more surgical than he would like. And that problem with that, I mean, there are many, many problems. And there are people who have different views on immigration than I do, who could list even more problems that I don't necessarily agree with. But let's just stipulate there are a lot of different problems with that approach, moral, legal, logistical, financial, whatever. We can go down the list. That's not my point. But one of the problems with that desperation to put numbers on the board is you're going to get sloppier and sloppier. Panic and desperation to hit quotas has never led anybody to be more fastidious and precise in their work. And I think you're going to see more and more desperate efforts to put numbers on the board, and that's going to lead to more due process violations, more mistakes, and I think the people inside the right-wing fishbowl are just blind to it. And I could give you names because that's just, but again, I don't want to just be airing of grievances about particular journalists and radio show hosts, but this is the kind of thing where when you're in your coalition and you're blind to it, really bad things happen. And when your other coalition, you can actually get, first of all, you can spot it earlier, but you can actually get more scared than you should because you're not in there and you don't see any of the internal restraints, right? I don't honestly think that Timothy Snyder from Yale needed to move to Canada for his own safety. But he basically apparently thinks that because America's going fascist, he's got to get out. And I'm not sure that's the profile and courage he thinks it is, but okay. If you think your country is going fascist, maybe you should stay and fight and not go teach kids in Toronto. But to each their own, right?